To the Eagles. Yesterday we had on Jeff Mosher, which love having Mosher on Tuesday so far during football season. And one of the things he talked about with us was what they could have learned, what they could have taken away from week 3. And you know very clearly from talking with me on Monday what I feel like they could have learned, what they should take away from
Absolutely.
The aggression offensively. And I sit around and I thought about yesterday the conversation we had with Jeff Mosher, the conversation we had for the first 2 days. And I don't want to say I come off as ungrateful, but I think I come off as a little ungrateful talking about a team that's won as much as it has with the identity it has.
I mean, Jalen Hurts is 17-0 in his last 17 starts.
Yeah. Well,
and you're like...
Finish. Start and finish.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Going to catch you on that one. That Commanders game he started. He just didn't finish the game. I keep seeing that graphic pop up, and I'm like, you got to, it's like
it's close enough.
It's like the Penn State Super Bowl graphic. Remember when they put that out there? A Penn State players appeared in every Super Bowl, and then it's like, except what? Like 5, 10, whatever it was. It's like, I keep seeing the 17-0 thing. Like,
it's
true.
Close enough.
Yeah.
They've won 19 of their last 20.
Well, that's the stat I like.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that stat.
And yet you're ungrateful.
That leads me to the question. We're talking about identity. When does this football team have to have the 2025 identity established by?
I mean, when did they establish their identity last year?
Week
7?
Yeah. 6?
In
like
that
after
range?
week 5, like after the Browns
we
game?
had the bye, and then you had the Browns game, you had the Jaguars game. I would say after those games, you were like, okay, defensive, run game. Those are the 2 things that really stuck out about the team that was that finally got on the roll and started to look more like themselves, or who they would become, I should say.
And with that, they've told us so far in terms of what they have as an identity as a group is pretty much the protect the ball at all costs, win the turnover battle at all costs. That is what I would establish so far as the 3 weeks identity of what you have in the Philadelphia Eagles, and it goes back beyond that. But offensively, this week when we talk about what their approach should be, and yesterday Patulino's presser, they were in attack mode. Very feeble attack in that first half, but attack mode nonetheless. Offensively, we talked with Jeff Mosher yesterday. He talked about starting with Saquon Barkley and the lesson from that game. And maybe that it's not so much you have to start with Saquon Barkley at this point. Take a listen to what Jeff Mosher had to say yesterday on here with us on the Midday Show.
One lesson they can learn is that you don't have to get Saquon Barkley going by running him, and that if you can get yourself an efficient passing offense to start with, that could actually help take some bodies away from Saquon, almost thinking in reverse, because clearly the way they've been trying to do it, which is starting off with Saquon and then hoping that opens up their pass offense, hasn't worked very well. So you would like to see that adjustment put them ahead. So I don't think that there should be any fear.
And this adjustment that he speaks of instead of going out there and relying on the 2024 identity of being the run-first, run-centric team that ends up setting up the pass, to me, are we wrong to ask a team to adjust, to switch from that, given how successful we know they've been? Again, 19 of the last 20. How many games they've won? Because I've spent the first 2 days of this week like, hey, that passing offense looked great in the second half. Let's start with that. Let's go after that. Am I wrong to ask for that adjustment, given just the success they've had with this identity?
No, because for 2 reasons, in my opinion. One, because everybody's adjusted. It was one of the overriding things that we talked about all summer, right? People know it works against the Eagles. They saw it in the Super Bowl to a certain degree. Listen, we all know what that score was. You know what score I recognize? I recognize 40-6.
Yes.
I don't recognize any other score. That's what the final score was in my book. But they all knew, every team looking at that, bottle up Saquon Barkley, you'll solve the one problem. What you won't solve is obviously the A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, who Dallas Goedert had a great postseason. But so everybody has changed and adjusted, so you have to adjust. So you cannot rely on, and let's listen to what the Eagles have said themselves. We can't rely on last year. We're not going to go back to last year. We're not going to talk about last year. In that same vein, you have to be able to move forward. You can take what you learned from last year and use that, but I think everything is completely different now with the way the teams are playing them. It's not just about stacking the box. It's about getting pressure on Jalen Hurts, which we did not see to the degree. It's about trying to force him into these mistakes, which is why we've seen this kind of vanilla offense, I think, for the first couple of weeks. So for me, whatever you thought was on paper was going to happen week 1 and week 2, because you know that's what you worked on in July and August, that's all gone. You have to have completely new scripts now because of the way that they're playing Jalen Hurts. You saw it with Steve Spagnuolo. You saw it obviously last week, where they're trying to get those pressures. And so he has to get the ball out lightning quick. and these decisions have to be made lightning quick. And that's where the aggressiveness does need to come in actuality, not in this game plan that we saw supposedly in the first half. In the second half, you did see that aggressiveness, and it was just these quick decisions. It was a big difference when they had Fred Johnson as opposed to Matt Pryor, obviously, and he had a little bit more time. But, yeah, I don't think it's too much to ask to say, all right, I know you thought that you knew what you were going to do, but that's not working right now, so completely flip the script.
And I don't think I'm wrong to ask
selfish.
it, but I'm having the self-reflection of you do two shows this week. We're talking so much about the offense. I'm sitting there like
they're 3-0.
Yeah,
they've won 19 of
3-0.
the last 20. You're thinking, why am I complaining? It's not complaining. It's about knowing what's to come.
And what's to come for me has to be this offense realizing if they just want to start it out with, hey, Saquon is going to get the ball first down. Like I think it was Jeff Mosher yesterday told us it was 10 of 17 plays between the touchdown and that big completion to A.J. Brown. 10 of the 17 plays featured a Barkley run or a Barkley catch, or they were trying to get Barkley into the offense regardless. Over 50% of the plays. And this is a guy who last year I still believe should have been the MVP of the league.
Agreed.
Who was the best player in football, voted on by his peers a season ago. It's not to take the ball away from him, but it's to realize that this offense has to open up creatively to everyone else. And like last year, the summit of the offensive linemen to be like, run first. Hey, man, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dotson, you've been here over a year. You go in there in that office, too. Why not? You could play Goddard. Go in there and, hey, remember us? Like, get us the football. I think, like, to me,
we're open because they're stacking the box.
Right. I question whether or not, and this is where I want to open it up to all of you out there at 610-632-0975. When you hear the conversation that we have about the offense, are we wrong to want to change what the identity's been, given the success that they've had? They're going to continue to try and prioritize winning the turnover battle over everything. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, this idea of we run through Saquon and then everything else happens, that's kind of the philosophy that talking with Jeff yesterday and talking over the last 2 days is kind of what I'm looking for them to shed. And it's not that you're not giving the ball to the best running back in football. It's that you're getting that offense in gear that opens up more for the best running back in football.
I think you can take a lot from how the Rams ran their offense in the first half. Kyron Williams was able to get going, but he wasn't solely featured.
Well, and that's also because the Eagles were respecting what they had in terms of a pass game.
Because they had Puka Nacua, who was very good, and obviously Devontae Adams as well, who I think brings a different level to them. But Puka Nacua is a dynamic receiver. But you have two dynamic I looked at that first half of the Rams, and I thought this is exactly what the Eagles should be doing. You have a great running back and two dynamic receivers. What's going on? And a good what's going on? And yet the Eagles, well, they did it in the second half, so.
Now,
shouldn't complain too much, but
it's fair to ask.
The first thing I thought was, why aren't we doing that?
So I'm curious for people at 610-632-0975 if you think with the success they've had, if we're wrong this week to be asking what we're asking them in terms of changing their offensive identity. But coming up, we've thrown comparisons around to the last time the Eagles made a Super Bowl appearance, 2022, and the year after in 2023 when it comes to the offensive coordinator. Chase Daniel, who has made a career now in the media of making us upset. Tried again this week to try and make us upset. Well, yeah, he's made a career after his career of carrying clipboards to make us upset. Eagles this year remind him not of a dominant Chiefs team that's running through the league, but remind him of a familiar Eagles team that he watched collapse. We'll play that for you coming up from his podcast, Scoop City with The Athletic, in the next segment. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays, 97.5, The Fanatic. Hey, it's Ray Dunn from The Midday Show. Thank you so much for watching our content. If you want more videos, you can click right here. Or how about you subscribe right here so you stay in the know on all that's coming from 97.5, The Fanatic.